All right. Sam Amick's going to join us in about 45 minutes. You're not going to want to miss that conversation. He broke the Monty McNair news. He's been on top of this all year long at
I know I'm shamelessly pumping the poll here.
Great personal criticism from some necks of the woods, and Sam has been nothing but right and early and first on so much of this news. We will continue to get updates internally from Sam Amick. And Jason, later on, we're going to ask for a bright spot or try to find one. I will say on social media a little bit ago, I asked things that were more fun than this Kings season. Go. And at some point, if time prevails, I think we might get a laugh or two out of some of the things people say are more fun than what we just went through.
We might need that.
Yeah. 3 for Madness. Christopher Verlaud, question 1.
What is the disappointment level for the Kings season on a scale of 1 to 10?
It's a 10 for me. It's a 10. I said it about a month ago, and I'm going to say it again. This, to me, was the most disappointing King season in their entire year, tenure here. And before you think I'm being dramatic, let me throw out a couple of rules here. I'm not counting off-field or off-court tragedies or incidents and personal stuff. I'm not obviously Ricky Berry off season, Bobby Hurley, of course, Wayman Tisdale, the things this franchise has been through that had nothing to do with on the court. Of course, that's real life. Let's throw that aside. And you may say, well, hold on, Dave. There have been 18 win seasons, 20 win seasons. What the hell are you talking about? Because I do believe that this is one of the most talented teams, top to bottom, that has ever been here. It was just a terrible fit. Number one. Number two, coming from coach of the year, executive of the year in the same year, just 3 years ago, and all the hype from the Beam team, and then you fire the coach, you fire the GM yesterday, you trade the franchise player, you made a horrible trade with the franchise player, everything that happened, and then culminating with them getting blown out at home. For me, if my son, who is barely 6 feet tall, can't dunk a basketball, it doesn't mean he doesn't want to. It just means he physically can't do it. I look at those Kings teams that lost a lot the same way. This Kings team should have been different. It was mismanaged from the jump. I think outside of relocation, Jason Ross, outside of relocation, and counting 2002 when the Kings were damn good, I think that this is arguably, from a basketball standpoint, the low point of their tenure in Sacramento.
Yeah, I'm going to give you, and see if you agree, Dave, maybe 2 other comps. I'm not, it's 10 is it. That's the answer. 9 or 10. I mean, it's 10, really, is the frustration. And it's because of what you said, expectations. Yeah, they won 17. They weren't good. They've won 22, 29. There weren't expectations. The only other comps I could think of is I'm going to go to 2005 and 2006, the last year of the 8-year run that they made the playoffs. That team was still supposed to be good. They still had Rick Adelman. They had Peja. They were not doing well. They traded Peja, got Artest. But the difference is that group still rallied, made the playoffs, lost ultimately, but put a scare into the San Antonio Spurs. They were an 8 seed versus a 1. So that one felt comparable in a sense based on what they had done and what some of the expectations were. And then the very next year, so Adelman's now gone, still a lot of the same players, but it was the first year of kind of going through like, what's going on? This is maybe where the downfall is really happening. So those would be the closest that I could remember, but it's because of expectations. I still can remember. It's hard to put yourself emotionally of what you felt years ago, but I can remember the emotions, Dave. I felt something as simple as being at the California Classic this summer when DeMar DeRozan the word was out. He was signed. Yeah. He walked in with Vivek, and it was like, oh man, Fox, Sabonis, DeRozan, whatever they do this offseason, Mike Brown coming back, like, okay, I don't know how it's going to work, but they're getting a Hall of Famer. Like, this could be really spectacular. And then to end it the way last night happened and everything in between, it's a 10. And if this, honestly, the other thing I thought of, David, I don't know if you agree or disagree, but it's kind of where the franchise is thought of nationally, as much as we get bothered when we don't get attention. But if we were thought of higher as an organization nationally, we should probably be getting the same kind of treatment Phoenix is, because people are like, what happened? What a mess. Look at their franchise. You got these players, this player, this player. Look at all the money they've spent. Well, the Kings have a lot of good players, and they have expectations. and they're kind of being left alone nationally, whereas locally, they're hearing from it, as they should. But it's probably the way people think about the Kings nationally that's maybe helping them in the national scope.
I think Kings PR should send Matt Ishbia and Nico Harrison Christmas cards, because it's really the only thing that's keeping them out of being the center of the bad part. And look, it's so funny. Some days I'm a downer and a doomer, and other days I'm a brain dead homer. I'd like to thank our friend Fred Siegel, who runs the Freezing Cold Takes account. As if losing wasn't bad enough, he had to hit me with, and I bring this up because you mentioned DeMar DeRozan. After that, I tweeted out July 6th at 11:25 p.m. And no, I don't drink. Official. The Sacramento Kings now run California. Warriors, Lakers, and Clippers can fight for second. And that's just, I'll never apologize for being excited, for being over the top, dramatic, and happy for this team. And you're right. When they brought in DeRozan, it's like, you know what? Screw it. It's the summer. I'm excited. Let's go. That's not a freezing cold take. That is a 0 degrees Kelvin, absolute zero take. Yeah. And it's so sad because so many Kings fans' hearts just repeatedly get crushed over and over and over again that they're leather at this point, but it doesn't make it hurt less. Question number 2, please.
Question 2.
Should Doug Christie be retained as the head coach?
I want to be very, very clear about this, and I believe there is only one correct answer. As always, push back, Jason. There is only one correct answer. Absolutely, positively, 1 trillion billion trillion % no, unless the general manager, whomever it may be, 100% backs the play. In other words, if the general manager does not want Doug Christie as the head coach next year, he'd better not be the head coach. We can talk all we want about whether or not we hope it's Doug or don't, however you feel. And I certainly love Doug to pieces, but it better be the new GM's call. That's it.
I can't. I mean, I want Doug to be, but that doesn't mean it's not that. It's not a want. You got to be in lockstep. And my thought on Doug, on Monty, on whatever was going to happen in the offseason, Dave, before last night, I felt like the decision shouldn't have had an impact. Last night shouldn't have mattered if they went 2 rounds, if they lost last night, which they did. Whatever happened last night, I feel like decisions should have already been made. And obviously, they made a very quick decision on Monty McNair. I think it should be the same, whatever you do. So if you kept Monty, keep Doug. If you're removing Monty, you likely should remove Doug based on what you said, unless you bring in, like you said, the new general manager, and the new general manager says, no, I'm 100% supporting Doug Christie. This is the direction I want to go. I know Doug wants the job. I would like to see Doug keep the job. I just think you've got to be, you can't do this exercise they've done before where you have a coach before the GM. It just doesn't work. And I want what's best for Doug. And we said it when they hired him, Dave, there's been a lot of great former Kings, and Doug, I know talks about it as unfinished business, and they want to be back. They want to finish what they couldn't do. They want to deliver it to these fans. And sometimes there's things that keep them from doing it themselves too. I mean, they're all part of this, but I just feel for him, and I really want what's best for Doug Christie. And for really what might be best for him is to not have the job. I hate to say
there is a very good argument that the best thing for Doug Christie would be to get as far away from this franchise. I don't think he'd agree with that.
Right.
But if you love Doug, sometimes if you look, what's the old saying? If you love Doug truly, sometimes you got to set Doug free. Mm-hmm. So, question 3, please.
Question 3.
Give me one, just one, serious bright spot for the Sacramento Kings.
I'm going to try to not be silly about this. One bright spot. Hold on. Just honestly, I wrote the damn question at 4 a.m. this morning. And I'm not trying to be silly. Like, what is the one? Jason, do you have one in mind?
What what first came to mind, and I'm not doing like the bigger, like, hey, they're here. We have none of that. I'm just, this is for this season, this team. I honestly think, and this could be picked apart if people push back, that's fine. I really think Keegan has continued to develop in a good way. I mean, maybe you want more, maybe you want it to be this, a future two-way star. He doesn't have to be that, but I think he's the 3-and-D guy they're looking for. You can always get more from him, but I mean, I think he's turned into one of the really great defenders in this league. He's not perfect, but I think that's where I'd go. But I feel like, it's that the list is obviously short. That was even hard to come up with.
I'm going to do my best here as well. Devin Carter showed some promise. I still don't think we necessarily know what Devin Carter is or what he could be. But I can squint and turn my head and say, okay, Keegan, Carter, Ellis.
Yeah, maybe Ellis. I mean, his development, that's pretty good. You don't get a lot of those finds and that turn into starters on your team. That's a good one.
And I guess I would finish by saying this, Jason, not to get cheeseball, because I think we did do our best to try to come up with bright sides, but I do mean this. The biggest positive is the fan base and the fact that win or lose, we are the most loyal. We bicker and fight, but we are a family, and we have been through hell and back again and then back again as a fan base through the years. It is this franchise has been almost entirely a Shakespearean tragedy, and you can bring in the off-court stuff now into that on top of ownership issues and roof falling in and Vegas guys doing Carl's Jr. commercials and almost getting to the promised land, and then the market falling out and the almost relocation and the sell of the team, but who bought the team and how has it gone? I mean, you could make a whole new 30 for 30 if you think about it, since the last 30 for 30 that was supposed to come. By the way, making a 30 for 30 and having it be the only 30 for 30 never shown publicly for the reasons we all know, it really is a crazy, crazy ride, but we've all been on it. We'll all continue to be on it. And that is in a world of darkness. Sometimes when it comes to sports, that is one of the very few bright lights for me, is that we have each other. We'll take a break. When we come back to your Sacramento Kings, quick break here. Monty